Welcome to Westmoreland Community Connections, a look at issues and happenings on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. Here now is your host, Jennifer Miele, Chief Communications Officer and Managing Director of Evangelization of the Diocese of Greensburg.
Welcome to Westmoreland Community Connections on WHJB. I'm your host, Jennifer Miele. So happy to be here today with Aaron Siko. He is the Assistant Township Manager and the Director of Parks and Recreation for Hempfield Township. And he's here today to talk to us about the inclusive playground that's opening in June in Hempfield Township. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Jen. Thanks for having me. So excited to talk about this new opportunity for the township.
Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. And you have just a really cool job, but you have a big job. So let me get this straight. You help manage the township and you manage all the parks and rec.
My primary focus is on the day-to-day operations of our Parks and Recreation department, but I do assist our township manager in the active day-to-day duties of the township as well. We're a big township with over 41,000 people, so there's a lot going on in Hempfield day-to-day.
Last time I checked, I think Hempfield was the largest township in Westmoreland County. Is that still accurate?
That's correct.
Yeah, I thought so. So did you grow up in this area or,
I did. I grew up in Unity Township.
Okay.
Went to Latrobe High School. So, I've always been here in Westmoreland County. I got my start in recreation, through college work studies with the Latrobe Unity Parks and Recreation Department. And then I also did my internship with Hempfield Township years ago. So it's been great to stay active in recreation here in the community and kind of see how that's evolved, since my time growing up.
How many, what in terms of number and size of parks in Hempfield Township, do you know how many they are and what kind of parks do they include?
Hempfield Township specifically maintains one major community park, which is Hempfield Park on Forbes Trail Road. Hempfield Park is a 93-acre park that also includes our indoor athletic complex. That's a 20,000 square foot indoor recreation space for basketball and various other sports. So we stay busy year round with the different activities that are going on in that park alone. Outside of that, we also maintain the Brook Lane Parklet and also the Woodward Drive walking track. And we're currently looking at different opportunities throughout the township, develop some new parks and green spaces for the community.
Yeah, Hempfield Park is absolutely beautiful. I feel like I'm there for at least 2 or 3 community events every summer. And my most recent experience was at a business expo through the Chamber of Commerce that they had inside the community building. And it was just really fabulous. What a resource to have in Hempfield Township. That's a lot of work, right? That's a lot of upkeep.
Absolutely. We have 5 full-time staff members in the Parks and Recreation Department. We have throughout the year up to 50 part-time and seasonal staff between programming and maintenance. So it is a lot going on. We just recently wrapped up our recreational basketball program that had 650 participants in that. So we do some pretty big programming, and we're getting into our soccer season now, which annually typically has about 250 children in that program. So it's a good time, and still time to sign up for soccer. So late registration still going.
That sounds like a very, very big job, but I can see that you are never at rest, even with the successful and existing programs that you have now, because opening in June is the inclusive playground. So give us the who, what, when, where, why on all of that, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. So we are excited about this playground that is going into Hempfield Park. This is an inclusive playground, and inclusivity in this sense means that we're providing opportunities for all children of all ages and abilities to be able to play together. It's not that, we have specific accessible equipment or that we have accessible features. It's that we're providing a space where everyone of every ability can really interact together. So that's very important, whenever it comes to talking about children and their creative play. Whenever we took a look at developing this playground, we were really looking at the overall master site plan of Hempfield Park as a whole, and that process began in 2014. Since then, We've put over $5 million in renovations into the park. Recently wrapping up a 2021 rehabilitation of our ball fields and concrete sidewalks, our new pavilion and concession stand. And this project is kind of a cap, if you will, to all of that work that's being done. We receive state funding through the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, and also through the Department of Community and Economic Development. And additionally, we received some county funding from the Community Development Block Grant. So we were able to get $1.4 million in grants to support these projects. And that goes a long way in really supporting the mission of Parks and Recreation in Hempfield Township. The Inclusive Playground is a $450,000 project with installation and the equipment. Obviously, like everyone else, we're dealing with supply chain issues and those things that are current. But we got everything done just in time to avoid most of the recent upheaval. And we're excited that hopefully as early as April 11th, we're going to start the installation of this structure. So really exciting time over at the park.
So let's describe it for people at home. I can see a picture of it, which I will post on the WHJB website, but it's really colorful, and talk about some of the amenities that will be in this playground.
Sure. We designed this playground with 4 specific play areas in mind. Mm-hmm. That starts closest to our amphitheater with our swing zone, which includes 7 different swing elements, from your traditional belt seats to a parent and me child swing, which allows, a parent or an adult guardian to swing with a toddler. They can swing together. There's a little place in the tot seat for your camera to go in on your cell phone, so you can capture that memory of your child swinging along. So it's really a unique, offering here in the community itself. Along with that, we have our adaptive seats that are able to, have any child from ages 5 to 12 years old, and even, adults in those seats. So again, we have that opportunity to provide that area. Kind of moving linear across the playground. So we're moving then to our 5 to 12, which is our play tower. The play tower is a giant structure, 2 spiral slides on there. You're starting on those slides at 12 feet off the ground, sliding down to the ground. 3 other slides on that structure, multiple climbing elements, a lot of color, a lot of play panels. So a lot of opportunity for different types of play on that structure. And then we move to what we call kind of a ground level in an inclusive play area, which is our music and motion area. There we have 2 orbital spinning play apparatus. One of them is the inclusive orbit, is what it's called. And that's actually at grade. So anyone using a mobility device can go right onto that without any kind of lip or step. Then we also, which is very unique to Westmoreland County, and I'm not familiar of any other playgrounds with this right now, is a specific music area. And that includes 7 different musical pieces where we're kind of tying off of that amphitheater. We have our summer concert series. We want children to be involved, in not only the arts, but in that musical creation, that interactive play. So there's a great opportunity there for them to play on those instruments and run around, kind of take a break from the slides and the climbing. And then we finish up the playground, moving over to our kinder tower, which is a 2 to 5-year-old structure. And that's a ramp structure, which really is easy for those children, they're just kind of getting their legs under them, starting to realize that, their head might move a little faster than their legs sometimes. So it's great because we're trying to provide a safe place for them to really get into some creative play, to start using their imagination and to take a little bit of risk. We really want to make sure that in a playground, it's a safe playground, but it provides children the opportunity to learn from risk and being able to jump off of low heights, climb up, ladders and rails. So all in all, the playground really caters to the 2 to 12-year-old age group. It's a very big area. The area as a whole is one of the biggest that I've ever been a part of, as far as playgrounds go. It's very equivalent, kind of in its opportunities and size to the playground that is over at Twin Lakes Park at the Peach Plaza expansion area. And, that was kind of a model for playgrounds locally. And that's something where we looked at that and wanted to expand on that for Hempfield Township.
Oh, I mean, it's just awesome. And I think anybody listening right now really needs to go to the WHJB Facebook page and check out the different pictures that are on there about this. It's a fabulous package that you sent me that you're also sending to donors, because you do have, did you say you do have some funding for this, right?
We do. As a part of this project, we did receive that DCNR grant, but, that was part of a much larger project. So, we know that community playground is something that, really caters to the needs of everyone. Again, with 41,000 residents here in Hempfield Township, and then also serving, the greater central Westmoreland region, including Greensburg and Salem Townships, Penn Townships, the Greensburg-Salem School District, having Maxwell Elementary from the Hempfield Area School District close by. And then our summer day camp program, which averages 80 to 100 children per week in that program. We wanted to make sure that structure was going to be there, but also was something that the community could get behind from a fundraising standpoint. So we are looking for community support still on this, but so far we have received $57,000 in community partnerships. And I'd like to thank at this time, if that's okay, First National Bank and Tracy Co. They were very generous in sponsoring one of our 4 play zones each. So we still have 2 play zone sponsorships available, and we are working with local businesses right now to try to secure those final sponsorships. So individually, each of those companies, First National Bank and Tracy Co., have pledged $25,000 each to the playground. So that's a great start to our fundraising effort, and we're really excited about where this is going to go for us. And I think the most exciting thing that I've probably ever put together from a fundraising standpoint is our Pale Pal program.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, talk about that. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we as a department really tried to come up with a way that the community could get excited about helping out. Every donation is important whenever you're looking at a structure that's almost $500,000. Mm-hmm. So we really wanted to find a unique way that people can get involved and be recognized. So we came up with the Pale Pal program. The Pale Pal program is basically, you get a fundraising pail, and we're going to be handing those pails out as early as next week, which is March 28th. We're starting that. And then we're moving that program through to May 6th. We're accepting donations. So you can pick up a Pale Pal at the Hempfield Athletic Complex or at the Hempfield Township Municipal Building. We suggest a $25 donation to pick up the pail. That way we're able to collect your information and make sure that you're recognized as a donor. The minimum donor recognition for our permanent signage at the playground is $75. So we think that's a pretty reasonable ask, for families and businesses to get involved in fundraising. Maybe they're not ready to commit to one of our bigger fundraising levels. And this is something where, children especially can get involved in making a donation to that playground that's going to be here for the next 20 to 30 years.
So basically, you pick up a pail and you try to fill it with donations. You go to your
That's right. Pretty straightforward.
Throw some change in the bucket and turn it in. So that's really nice. So it's for $75, you can be recognized as a donor on the sign, and then with the Pale Pal, you recommend that $25 donation, and then that's applied to the $75, right? So
that's correct.
So then you're really only looking at raising $50 or something like that.
Right. Yeah. It's again, what we hope is, a reasonable ask. And we understand that, with everything that's going on in the community in the past couple of years, it's been hard for a lot of organizations to fundraise, over the past 36 months or so. But, every donation makes a difference. And with a community as large as Hempfield and our surrounding area, we feel that we can make a pretty big impact and, have the opportunity to raise funds for other events and for other community sponsored activities throughout the course of 2022 and beyond by doing this program.
I'm talking to Aaron Siko. He's the Assistant Township Manager and Director of Parks and Recreation for Hempfield Township. We're talking about the Inclusive Playground Project, which is scheduled to launch in June of this year. You're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on WHJB. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is Westmoreland Community Connections on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. If you have a suggestion for a topic, or if your nonprofit organization would like to be featured on this program, call us during regular business hours at 724-216-1200.
Welcome back to Westmoreland Community Connections on WHJB. I'm your host, Jennifer Miele, talking today with Aaron Siko. He's the Assistant Township Manager and the Director of Parks and Recreation for Hempfield Township. We've had a great discussion in the first half of the show about the inclusive playground that is scheduled for a grand opening on Saturday, June 4th. And so I know you're having supply chain issues. Everyone is having supply chain issues. I mean, sometimes you can't get eggs and milk with supply chain issues. So I imagine this was hard. But I want to ask you, do you think COVID-19 made this project even more important, knowing that, we do face an uncertain future and the outdoor play becomes so relevant and so important in all this, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think COVID-19 really showed a lot of, us in the recreation industry, really how important our facilities and our programming was to the overall community.